The rain was coming down in sheets. The 9-year-old Sophie pressed her face against the car window and gasped. "Daddy, stop. That lady needs help." William Harper, a 42-year-old self-made billionaire, looked up from his phone just in time to see something that made his blood run cold. A young woman was backed against a wall, clutching a small boy to her chest, while two grown men closed in on her. She looked terrified. The boy was maybe 5 years old, and he had buried his face in his mother's neck like he was trying to disappear. William didn't hesitate. "Stay here," he told his daughter. "Keep the doors locked. Rub it," he said to his driver, and then he stepped out into the storm. By the time he reached them, his suit was soaked through, but his voice was steady. "Is there a problem here?" The taller man sneered. "None of your business. Pal, move along." William didn't move. He planted himself between the men and the woman, and that's when he heard something that changed everything. "She owes us," the man said. "Rent's 3 months behind. We're just collecting what's ours." But William could see it in the woman's eyes. This wasn't a landlord dispute. This was something far more sinister. And within the next 60 seconds, he was about to make a decision that would put his entire world and Hayes on a collision course neither of them could have predicted. "How much?" he asked. The number the man gave was double what the woman actually owed. William didn't argue. He pulled out his wallet, counted out the cash, and handed it over. "I'm paying her debt. All of it, right now. Then you're going to leave her alone." The men took the money, but as they walked away, one of them turned back with a warning. "You should be careful who you get involved with. Some people attract trouble." Neither William nor the woman, whose name was Amanda, knew just how true those words would turn out to be. Amanda was shaking, partly from the cold, partly from fear. "They'll be back," she whispered. "They always come back." William made a decision on the spot. He invited Amanda and her son, Noah, to join him and Sophie for dinner. Amanda hesitated. She wasn't used to accepting help from strangers, but when little Noah tugged her sleeve and whispered that he was hungry, she gave in. At the restaurant, something unexpected happened. Sophie and Noah bonded instantly, folding napkins into animal shapes and giggling over spaghetti. And across the table, William found himself drawn to Amanda in a way he hadn't felt in years. She told him the truth. Her husband Mike had died 2 years earlier in what was ruled a car accident, but the debt collectors claimed she'd inherited his gambling debts. She'd been paying them ever since, terrified of what would happen if she stopped. "That's not how debt collection works," William told her. "What they're doing is illegal." "Try telling them that," Amanda said bitterly. "They know I can't afford lawyers." By the end of the night, William asked to see her again, not just out of concern, but because something about this woman and her son had stirred something in him he thought had been buried for good. He had no idea that the very next day, a phone call would change all of their lives forever, and that the danger circling Amanda ran far deeper than either of them could imagine. The next morning, William sat in his corner office on the 43rd floor of Harper Technologies, unable to focus. His mind kept drifting back to Amanda and Noah. On impulse, he had his driver take him to Amanda's apartment building, where he found Noah drawing dinosaurs on the sidewalk with his elderly neighbor, Marion, watching over him. Marion was sharp and protective. When William asked about the men who'd been harassing Amanda, her expression darkened. "Started right after Mike died," she said. "Poor Amanda's been run ragged trying to keep them at bay." She warned him that the men had connections, the kind that meant real trouble for anyone who crossed them. "Amanda's late husband found that out the hard way," she added cryptically. Before William could ask more, his phone rang. It was his assistant. Sophie had fallen at school and might have broken her arm. William rushed to Memorial Hospital, his heart in his throat. He found Sophie tearful but brave, her arm being examined by a doctor. And then, stepping into the room, came a familiar face, Amanda, in her nurse's scrubs, gently helping Sophie pick a color for her cast. She hadn't even realized whose daughter she was treating until she saw the chart. While Sophie got her cast, Amanda pulled William aside with unsettling news. The men had called her that morning. Despite the money William had paid, they now claimed Mike owed even more. "That's extortion," William said, his jaw tightening. "Welcome to my world," Amanda replied. William made a decision right there in the hospital hallway. "I'm going to help you end this once and for all." He had no idea just how far that promise would take him, or what he was about to uncover about the man terrorizing Amanda's life. The next morning, after Amanda's night shift ended, William took her to a quiet breakfast spot to hear the full story. What she told him chilled them both. Her husband, Mike, had gotten involved with a man named Victor Donovan, the head of an illegal gambling operation with a dangerous reputation across the city. Mike had borrowed heavily, using their house as collateral, without telling Amanda. After Mike died, Donovan came after her for the debt and threatened to hurt Noah if she didn't pay. The last man who offered to help was working for Donovan. Amanda admitted, "It was a setup to get me deeper in debt. That's why I didn't trust you at first." William told her plainly he could pay off the debt right now, but Amanda shook her head. Paying them won't end it. Donovan will just invent another reason why it isn't settled. The only way this ends is if Donovan is stopped. "Then that's what we'll do," William said. What neither of them noticed was a man sitting in the corner booth behind a newspaper, listening to every word. As soon as they left, he made a call. "Boss, it's Vince. Amanda Jackson's got herself a rich boyfriend, and I think is planning to cause trouble." That night, William called in James Kaplan, his head of security and a former FBI agent, and asked him to dig up everything he could find on Victor Donovan. What James uncovered the next day would blow the case wide open and put a child's life in danger. James's investigation revealed something horrifying. Mike Jackson's fatal car accident might not have been an accident at all. A police contact told James a brake line showed signs of tampering, but the investigation had been shut down before anyone could prove it. And there was more. Amanda had filed a harassment report against the two men 6 months earlier, naming them directly. That report had been buried. Donovan, it turned out, had people on his payroll throughout the city, including in law enforcement. When William told Amanda that her husband's death might have been murder, the color drained from her face. "I suspected," she whispered. "Deep down, I always wondered." Mike was a careful driver. Amanda begged William to stay away, terrified of what Donovan might do to him and Sophie. But before the conversation could go any further, her phone rang. It was the school. Noah had vanished from the playground during recess. Someone had taken her son. The school was in chaos by the time William and Amanda arrived. Teachers searching classrooms, police interviewing staff, parents in a panic. A witness said a man had approached Noah through the fence, and the boy had simply walked off with him. Amanda was certain of one thing. It's Donovan. He's taken Noah to force me to pay. When William reported his suspicions to the police, he noticed something troubling. The officer's eyes shifted away the moment Donovan's name came up. This wasn't going to be solved through official channels. Someone on the force was protecting Donovan. William called James immediately. "A child has been kidnapped, and I think Victor Donovan is behind it." Within the hour, Amanda's phone rang with a demand, $250,000 in cash by midnight, or she would never see her son again. When William got on the phone, demanding to hear Noah's voice, the boy's frightened cry came through the line. "Mom, I'm scared," and it was a sound neither parent would ever forget. William didn't hesitate. He had the money. But this time, they weren't going to play by Donovan's rules. James's security team devised a plan. Amanda would go to the exchange alone, exactly as instructed, wearing a hidden earpiece and a tracking device sewn into the bag of cash. William and the team would stay invisible but close, ready to move the moment Noah was safe. Before she left, Amanda turned to William, fear naked in her eyes. "Why are you doing all this? You barely know us." "I care about what happens to you and Noah," he admitted, "more than I expected to." That night, under a steady rain, Amanda walked alone into an abandoned warehouse at the edge of the industrial district, carrying $250,000 and carrying the fate of her son in her hands. What waited for her inside was about to turn everything she thought she knew upside down. Vince, one of the men from that very first night, met her at the door and had her search for wires, but the tiny earpiece went undetected. He led her through the dark warehouse to a back office, where she found Noah, frightened but unharmed. She dropped to her knees and pulled him into her arms. But the relief didn't last. Sitting behind a desk was a woman Amanda had never seen before, elegant, cold-eyed, and clearly in charge. "I'm Catherine Donovan," the woman said, "Victor's wife, soon to be ex-wife, if all goes as planned." Amanda was stunned. This wasn't Victor's operation at all. It was his wife's. Catherine explained that she needed leverage against her husband, and Amanda had unknowingly provided it. Then came the real bombshell. Mike Jackson hadn't just owed Victor money. He had worked for him, smuggling a priceless stolen jade statue into the country, using his construction job as cover. Before he died, Mike had hidden it, and Catherine wanted it back. He was a construction worker, Amanda said, reeling. That's impossible. Perfect cover, Catherine replied. When Amanda insisted she knew nothing about any statue, Catherine turned to little Noah instead, gently coaxing him to remember his father's hiding places. It was a gut-wrenching moment, a mother watching helplessly as a stranger tried to pull information out of a frightened child. Noah finally recalled a lake house where his father used to take him fishing, and a hidden box beneath the floor. Catherine ordered Vince to bring Amanda and Noah and the ransom money to the lake house immediately. William and James, listening to every word through the hidden earpiece, made a critical decision. Let them go and follow. Through the rainy night, the convoy wound its way toward the lake region, William and his team trailing at a safe distance. Inside the SUV, Catherine, perhaps surprising even herself, opened up to Amanda, revealing that she'd only discovered the true extent of her husband's crimes a year earlier, after 25 years of marriage. I understand what it's like to be deceived by the man you love, she said quietly. At the abandoned lake house, Noah pointed them to the fireplace, where a rotting floorboard hid a small metal lockbox. When Vince finally pried it open, Catherine leaned forward eagerly and recoiled in shock. There was no jade statue inside. Instead, a USB drive, photographs, and a handwritten letter. The photo showed Victor with other women. The letter and the drive contained something even more explosive, evidence of money laundering in connection to corrupt officials throughout the city. Mike hadn't just been hiding stolen property. He had been quietly building a case against Victor Donovan, insurance in case things ever went wrong. Your husband was smarter than I gave him credit for, Catherine said. He was gathering evidence against Victor as insurance. Outside, William gave the signal. James's security team stormed the cabin, weapons drawn, and subdued Catherine's men in seconds. William rushed straight to Amanda and Noah. Are you both okay? Amanda, tears streaming down her face, could only nod. Catherine remained eerily calm even as she was restrained, and before William handed her over, she pointed him toward the lockbox one more time. Inside, alongside the evidence against her husband, were photographs of prominent city officials, including the police commissioner and a judge. The corruption ran deeper than anyone had imagined. 2 hours later, back at William's penthouse, with Sophie asleep down the hall, Amanda finally let herself breathe. I still can't believe Mike was involved in all this, she said softly. I never really knew him at all. William took her hand. He was trying to get out. Amanda. That letter made it clear. He was gathering evidence to protect you and Noah. It hadn't saved his life, but in the end, it would help bring his killers to justice. Federal agents took custody of the evidence, bypassing the corrupt local officials entirely. Victor and Catherine Donovan were both arrested and would eventually face lengthy prison sentences, along with a network of corrupt officials they had protected for years. 6 months later, William's country estate was filled with laughter and sunlight for Sophie's 9th birthday. Noah, now 6, chased butterflies across the lawn while Amanda helped Sophie cut her birthday cake. Amanda had transferred to day shifts at a private hospital, finally free of the fear that had haunted her for 2 years. She had testified against the Donovans and watched, at last, as the nightmare came to an end. As the party wound down, William found Amanda alone on the terrace, watching the sunset. Their relationship had grown slowly and carefully in the months since that night at the warehouse. Dinners, quiet evenings, the kind of patience that comes from real respect. Now Amanda's lease was ending, and she admitted she'd been looking at apartments closer to the hospital, though the prices near there were steep. You and Noah are welcome to stay here, William said. There's more than enough room. Is that what you want? Amanda asked. Us living here. I want you in my life, William answered. You and Noah both. The arrangement is up to you. Amanda stepped closer, resting her hands on his chest. What if I said I'm ready for more than an arrangement? Then I'd say, William replied, his heart racing, I've been falling in love with you since the moment Sophie spotted you in the rain. Amanda's smile broke across her face like sunrise. Funny, she said, "how the worst day of my life turned into the beginning of something beautiful." Below them in the garden, Sophie and Noah shouted for them to come see a firefly that blinked purple. Laughing, Amanda took William's hand, and together they walked down to join the children, a father, a mother, a son, a daughter, and the family none of them had known they were looking for. And as they went, William silently thanked his daughter for the plea she'd made that stormy night so many months before. "Daddy, please help her." In trying to save Amanda, he had found something he never expected, a second chance at family, at wholeness, and at love.